everybody. Thanks for joining me once again for the Lighten Up Project. All you light makers out there, we could not do this without you. And guess what? We are bringing on a new member to the Lighten Up Nation. Yes, she is here to help spread the word about laughter and play and just showing up in the world. And today on the Lighten Up Project, we are going to be talking about something most of us do every day. All of us do every day, which is show up. We all have to show up in the world somehow. And very often, dare I say all the time, what you wear says loads about you even before you open your mouth. Today, my guest is a very special person, very knowledgeable person with that. Amy Janece, she is a personal brand strategist, and she helps coaches and speakers and entrepreneurs and authors all align with their appearance, and that helps with their message and make sure that their appearance and their message are aligned with their true selves, how they actually show up in the world. Now, Amy is a best-selling author, and she is a sought-after speaker. Amy blends consulting with the personal development, like using colors, and color psychology and personal styling. She sort of blends the two, and she helps people discover their natural elements and their palette, and transforms their entire wardrobe and really how they show up in the world. Now, Amy's mission is simple. She makes sure, I love my grammar. She makes sure that what you wear really, truly reflects who you are. So show up with confidence, authenticity, and real impact. Today, we're going to be talking about style. We're going to be talking about self-expression. We're going to be talking about stepping fully into who you are, into your personal brand, whether you are an entrepreneur or not. So let's lighten up and welcome Amy Janece.
Thank you, Malcolm. It's a pleasure to be here.
You are very welcome. Good. I'm glad. So, Amy, would you join me in 20 seconds of spontaneous laughter?
Sure.
All right. Sure. I love the enthusiasm. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Laugh.
Oh my goodness. This is definitely a first, and I love it.
Yeah. Great way to start a conversation. Just lightens everything up. And that brings me to my first question. How do you define lighten up?
Letting go of anything that's heavy. Just deep breath, relax your shoulders, remove your tongue from the roof of your mouth, and just let it go.
Just let it go. That's right. Let it go. And so anything that's heavy, could you unpack that a little more for our audience?
Sure. Anything that feels heavy, it's weighing you down, it's got you in emotions like anger or sadness or any of these things, that heaviness, it's finding that little spark of maybe you can find something to laugh about in almost any situation. I typically laugh at inappropriate times because I'm uncomfortable. But also, if that situation doesn't really give you room to make it funny, maybe watch a funny video or something silly that does make you laugh. Because life, it's not that serious. None of us make it out alive, right? So we might as well enjoy the ride and just go with it.
Definitely. Definitely. So you brought up a very interesting topic when it's inappropriate. So what do you say to someone who says that laughter in business, so keep it real basic, just laughter in business is inappropriate. It's inappropriate to laugh and mix the two.
Honestly, I would laugh at that. Two of the emotions, one of my coaches and trainers actually trained speakers speaking to sell it specifically. He says there are two ways to get your audience to lean in and buy. The more laughs you get them to have, or the more tears. So I believe laughter and business go hand in hand because laughing is human. It's something that I would say most of us do, but if there's a few who don't, it's because they're trying very hard. Like you have to look for reasons to not be happy if you never laugh. So you might want to check into that if that's you. But you're here, so it's probably not you. I believe laughter belongs everywhere. Like, again, it's not that serious. And we can make things funny. We can make them fun. We can make them enjoyable. Think about your experiences. Would you rather go to a seminar or a teaching thing where everything is just hands in front of you, be stiff, just serious? Or would you rather have someone who cracks a joke once in a while, especially someone who can laugh at themselves if they trip up over something? Like, what makes you feel more invited to lean in and learn and want to spend time there? For me, laughter is a great thing. Laughter has gotten me through some dark times, and laughter gets me through every day because I enjoy laughing. I enjoy having a good time, and laughter goes hand in hand with that. It's joyful.
Yes, it is. You brought up a very, very good point about what your one of your mentors said, and emotions and connections. So this actually goes straight into what I talk about and teach with my, with my business, Laugh, Play, Thrive, is selling. And so for entrepreneurs, I work with both entrepreneurs and corporate America, but with entrepreneurs especially, it's selling. And I talk about applied improv and laughter, right? And applied improv it's that connection. It's what you get. It's the connection to yourself. It's the connection to others. And applied improv is really essential. It's that play that's essential to selling. And a lot of people don't get that. They think about sales and they think that, it's not fun. It's about what you say and things like that. But people buy from people they're connected to. People buy from people they're connected to. And when you play, when you laugh, when you have humor, all of the above, then you're building that connection, not only with the other person, but also with yourself. And that's really important. Thank you very much for mentioning that. Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely. Another play on that is sometimes we think of sales with this ickiness, right? Sales is only icky when you are trying to manipulate someone into buying something that doesn't actually serve them. That's when sales are icky. But sales in general is actually service. It's trading a dollar for a service that's going to improve that person's life. If you're going into a sales conversation knowing that what you're bringing to the table is actually good for this person and it's going to improve their life, their business, or whatever in some way, you're doing them a service, not a disservice. So the sales shouldn't feel icky anyway. So that's a mindset thing that if that's how you feel, that's something to consider. And what Malcolm brought up about improv is huge. I have heard this and I've watched it, especially speakers, trainers, people at the front of the room. If you're doing anything like that, you should definitely take an improv class or a course, because being able to go with things on the fly will help you. It will help sharpen your mind so you're quicker on your feet, and it'll show you what you're capable of in the most amazing ways so that you won't be afraid to have those conversations anymore. So Malcolm's improv program is definitely something that would benefit you. And in addition, back to the sales thing, do you know you're always selling something? You're always selling something. If you're on a job interview, you're selling yourself. Not in the illegal kind of way for most jurisdictions, but you're selling what you can do for them in exchange for money. When you're on a date, if you want to see that person again, you're selling yourself to them because you want them to want you, right? It's an exchange. When you're trying to get your toddler to eat their peas and carrots, you're selling them the idea that if they do that, they're going to get XYZ. So sales isn't bad. It's something we do every day without realizing we're doing it.
Exactly. I a little off the topic, I guess, but very similar. I make that same argument when it comes to public speaking, right? There are a lot of people, because I also work with speakers, beginning speakers, a lot of beginning speakers and getting over stage fright and things like that. But using that exact same argument, we are publicly speaking every day. Somehow we are. So it's just a conversation. In this case, it's a conversation with 20 people looking at you, or 20,000 people looking at you, either one, but it's a conversation.
It is. And when you break it down to a conversation, there's a few key things to remember. If public speaking does terrify you, have a conversation with one person in the room, find one friendly face and have a conversation. Like, look at other people from time to time. Otherwise it gets a little creepy, but have a conversation with someone, right? Because that's all you're doing is having a conversation, and with multiple people at the same time. The other part of that is, what is the most embarrassing thing that might happen to you on stage? Think about that. And then think about how many people you've seen live their most embarrassing moments, and you don't harp on it forever because you either laugh and move on, or you think, oh, that was unfortunate, and you move on. The only person that relives it is you, if you choose to. And 99.9% of the time, whatever the most embarrassing thing that you think of that can happen on stage isn't going to happen. And if you forget words, or you forget your next topic, or whatever the case may be, it's okay. No one else knows you forgot except you. And they're going to forget when the next person does the next thing. Think about how quickly things go viral, and then you never hear about them again after a couple of days. Nobody's going to care after a couple of days. So give yourself some grace there. Laugh it off.
Hey, man, go on. That's great. Yes, laugh it off. I love that. Speaking of, what is your most embarrassing moment, Amy?
Ooh, my most embarrassing moment. Okay, so in 6th grade, at recess, so I developed a little early, and I had my feminine time of the month. And so I was wearing, those special undergarments that are probably going to be messy, had my shorts on, and we were swinging, which was fine. we decided to see how many people we could swing with on our lap. So like we just piled kids on our lap. And I happened to be on the bottom and I got the most people. I'm very competitive. So at some point though, I slipped. So as we were going forward, I fell backwards. My shorts stayed on the swing with everyone else and I came out of them. And in 6th grade, being 11, 12 years old, that was horrifying. I spent the rest of the day in the bathroom and no one else talked about it ever again. Like I was mortified. I did not want to go to school the next day. Didn't tell my mom why, just like cried and begged for her not to send me to school. And she was like, "You're going to school." I was so embarrassed and I held on to that for a very long time. And now I look back like, yeah, the next kid in the next subject probably did something dumb and everyone forgot, right? Nobody else cares. Like they forget and move on. I held on to that for years and I didn't go back on a swing for a very long time. I think until I was an adult. And I love swinging. Like it's on a playground swing is very fun. So I would say that that's probably the top one that comes to mind, and how I robbed myself of the joy of playing on a swing set for years because of that. And nobody else cared. I don't even think anyone that was there remembers that except me.
It's funny how sometimes we are the only ones that remember what we view as the most traumatic memories or traumatic moments in our lives. Was there a time in your life when humor has helped you survive something hard?
Oh yeah. I was in a very toxic relationship with my children's father, and we were having a lot of financial hardships where I didn't know if we were going to have a place to live, food on the table, lights, like everything, right? There was some gambling issues. There was a lot going on. And I felt like my life was completely out of control and I didn't know what was going to happen next. And there was this show on TV, and I don't remember the name of it. I think it was called Wipeout, something like that. They had these obstacle courses over the water or over mud, and like these big bouncing balls that the people would have to try to bounce on to get to the other side. It was like obstacle courses. And the way that the commentators would talk about them trying to do these things and show the wipeouts in every angle and slow motion and the way the body would bend when they would bounce off these balls and fall in the water. I used to laugh so hard. In those few moments, nothing else mattered. I could just laugh, and that helped me. Like, this seems silly, but it helped me get through because in that moment I was okay and it was funny. And then when I would go back to dealing with life, it was just a reminder that I'm going to bounce back. I might fall in the water, I might face plant, but we're going to bounce back, right? But just watching that really helped. And even now, like if I start to feel sad, I'll go to a channel that I subscribe to on social media that I know is funny, and I'll watch that. I've retrained my algorithm to be things that are inspiring and things that are funny and things that are cute. Cute babies, animals, whatever the case may be, but bring laughter in. Because when you're laughing, like that's that feel good. It raises the frequency of your emotions, your thoughts. And I don't know about you, but I would much rather be on the positive side of those frequencies than the others.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I love that. And as we pointed out at the very beginning of the interview, laughter doesn't have to be a reaction to something. So there's so many people that think I have to react, I have to find something funny to laugh at, right? Just like you said, I have to find those pictures of those really cute babies or of the people wiping out. I have to find that to laugh at. And yes, that really helps. And you don't need that. You can just laugh.
Good belly laugh like a spontaneous laugh like we did earlier. I have done that a few times. And if you stick with it, you'll actually start laughing at yourself, laughing at nothing. And it can become contagious in the best way.
Yes, I've had in the interviews that I've had, there have been a number of people that have commented, we just laugh off each other, and it's supposed to be 20 seconds, and it ends up to be 30 seconds, and we have to stop because it's a conversation. We have to get on with our conversation.
Absolutely.
But yes, it's definitely contagious. And the more you do it, that's one of the things about laughter yoga or laughter therapy, which I do, is that's made up laughter, I guess, or I can't think of the word right now. It's made up. We'll go with that. Made up laughter. It's not genuine laughter, but the more that you laugh, the more genuine it becomes. And the great thing is that physiologically, we're getting the same benefits. Your mind's getting the same benefits from the non-organic laughter, from the made up, from the forced laughter. You're still getting that same dopamines. You're still getting the same rush. And like you said, the longer you do it, then you start laughing at yourself laughing, and then becomes genuine. And then the laugh gets deeper, and you get all these benefits plus. So before we move on to more of your expertise, what is something that has genuinely made you laugh recently?
Goodness. So many things. So many things that my brain went blank. That made me laugh. I am someone who will laugh at myself when I do or say something silly, when I miss words up. I will laugh at other people, not like in a like you suck kind of way, but in a like, we all make mistakes. I laugh at all kinds of things. I laugh at nothing at all. Like sometimes I'll just look around nature and think about like how beautiful it is and how amazing and all of the key pieces that come together to make this moment possible. And then I'll just laugh like in this giddy way because it's so awesome that I'm a part of this, like this huge universe that has all these things to make all of this possible, from the colors in the sky to the moon and the sun to the trees and flowers and on and on and on, right? Watching the goofy things that animals do makes me laugh. Like one of my sons has a cat and he'll play with the laser with the cat. Watching this cat doesn't like do anything, but when that laser comes on, she's like turbo speed and jumping up on the walls, and that makes me laugh. So a lot of things. I laugh at tons of things every day.
Great. So, well, let's start with your book, because I've read part of your book. I'm still reading your book, and things. I'm a slow reader, even when I use technology. So I'm still reading your book, and what I really loved about your book so far is your explaining about how our image is how we show up, and how our outside image sometimes sometimes we get into or I should say sometimes I get into, because I don't want to say everybody does that. I know a lot of other people do, but I'll just say I do right now. I have at times been fallen into the habit of letting society, letting my environment determine how I show up, how I look, who I am, how I present myself physically. And what I really like about your book is that you start with working on the inside. And beauty, you start by defining beauty, even though you don't necessarily name it that. It is beauty. It's how we see ourselves. It's how we show up. It's who we are and defining that. And I really, really, really like that about your book. So my first question, because we've had so many. Let's say my first question, my next question is, how did you get started with wanting to help people show up differently?
So, I didn't start out wanting to be an image consultant per se. This came about in a series of events where I realized this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I love doing this. It's powerful. Basically, I get to hold the mirror for you to see how beautiful you are. And beauty is an inside-out process. I say that frequently. So what you just said, that sums that up. Beauty is an inside-out process. It starts from within, and the more beautiful you are and the more you see that, the more that does show up on the outside. So the book, which I had a feeling you were going to bring it up, and it's over there, so I can't even show it. It's like 5 feet away from me. I had a feeling you were going to bring it up. So Who's in the Mirror, Beyond the Roles You Play, is about getting back in touch with who you are on the inside. A common question that we ask, who are you? Right? The question I don't know. I've been asked that several times in life, and I never really had an answer outside of, well, I'm a mom, I'm this, I'm that. I named roles. I didn't name who I am. Those roles and names and labels, that's not who you are. Those are labels and words that we use to define you. So when you look at who you are and the beautiful things that you bring to this world that only you can bring, because you are the only person in this entire universe that has the exact set of experiences, perspectives, and gifts. So no one else can do what you do. And I mean, we have these cliche sayings like, well, I'm only myself because everyone else is taken. And those are cute and they're funny. And we laugh it off and don't think about how true it is. We spend our whole life trying to be who we think we're supposed to be instead of just who you are. And who you are is who you're supposed to be. So this is something that's really important to my heart, because I grew up in an era without social media, and it was hard enough with the airbrushed models on the magazines and the ideal of beauty being a specific set of standards where no one felt like they matched that. Even the women on those magazines had insecurities, and men do too. So basically watching people go through a lifetime of using filters, surgeries, diets, enhancements, whatever the case may be, not everyone, a lot of people don't feel like they're good enough the way they are. So they keep trying to change their appearance, right? Because if I looked this way, then I would feel good. It's actually the opposite. It's when you accept who you are and that you're perfect the way you are. That's when you feel great. That's when you expand in a way that truly touches the world the way only you can.
Now, how did this evolve into actually working with the image, actually working with the personal brand?
So I spent the majority of my life hiding in plain sight without realizing it. I got the message somewhere along the way that my opinion didn't matter, my thoughts didn't matter, I didn't look the right way, I didn't act the right way, that everything about me was wrong. So I kept trying to be who I thought I needed to be, especially in the different roles you play. And we do show up differently in our professional role, being a parent, being a sister, being a kid, being whatever roles you play. There are several you could name off. And I always was playing this role. And I realized one day that I wanted to get back to who I felt like I was and doing things that I love to do. I spent over 20 years as a ghostwriter. I decided to write and put something out in my own name. I have a novel. I write very different genres. And while I was going through all of this, I realized that the people that had been closest to me for the last decade didn't really know anything about me beyond the surface level. Meaning, if you looked at my Facebook page for 5 minutes, they could tell you the same thing as my closest friends. And I was like, there's so much more to me. Like, there's so much more depth to me. Why does no one see that? Why does everyone only see the surface level? So this question is in the background of my mind. And I show up at a speaker retreat to support a friend. I had no desire to be a speaker. I definitely thought that was not my path. I showed up at this retreat having just released my first novel in my own name. And there was an image consultant who did this color typing. And I leaned in because I saw the visuals that she put up. And I was like, you know what? There's something to this. So for book signings or author photos, I can use that. I had no intention of changing my actual wardrobe just for those professional moments. And when she typed me and she gave me my colors, I told her, I don't agree. I think those colors are ugly, and I'll wear what you say for a week to prove you wrong. In hindsight, knowing what I know, I basically already told her she was right. I changed my shirt and put on a lip color that she told me to wear, and in less than an hour, I knew she was right. I'm not wrong very often, but when I am, I will admit it. People that I knew from the business world treated me different immediately. I was like, yeah, you texted them, whatever. Strangers treated me different. We were in New Orleans and we went shopping as a group. Everyone who got their colors done that day, we all went shopping together. And I started helping the other girls pick stuff out after I was done. And she said, you really have an eye for this. You should let me train you. I resisted for a couple of years before I finally said yes. And the reason I said yes is because I was paying her to type other people in my life. And I was like, well, if I do the training, I could just type them. Like, still didn't intend to do it as a business. What changed was the universe kept nudging me forward. I decided that maybe if I take on a couple of clients, I can reimburse myself for the training. So I did speak at an event. And the first time I presented this publicly, when I got off the stage, I had 3 different women come to me and tell me that my words changed their life. It made them see themselves differently. That's when I knew that, yes, I love helping people feel better on the outside, but knowing that I can hold the mirror for you to really get back in touch with who you were born to be instead of who the world told you to be, that like it electrifies my cells. Like, even thinking about that, I still get the chills. And I've been doing this for a few years now. And the transformations that I've seen have been incredible, from increases in income, relationships being better. Like, my own personal experience was in less than 6 months, my income more than doubled. My relationships with friends and family strengthened. Strangers treated me different. And I felt more at home in my own skin than ever before. My brother, who didn't know anything one day about any of this, he looked at me one day and said, you're more you than I've seen you in over 30 years. What changed? And I laughed and I was like, my shirt? Like, all that I did was change the colors I was wearing. But that's not all I did. What I really did was get back in touch with who I am at the core of me before those messages started coming. The messages that are like, you're too much of this. You're not enough of this. You have to dress like this for this role, like this job, this title, this whatever. When you get back in touch with who you are and your words match who you are and that matches how you look, other people can lean in. There's no more subconscious barrier saying I'm hiding something. So that was probably not the straightest way to get there. It was a little all over the place. I'm still working on being concise with that. Haven't mastered it yet.
Well, see, that's the thing about life too, is life is messy, and life is not concise. You had to go through everything that you went through to get to where you are today, right? And yes, it was a mess, but you had to go through the mess to get to where you are today. And sometimes being concise, about that, if you were just telling that story and you wanted to make it more and more concise, one could destroy the story a little bit. You take some of the life out of it, some of the messiness out of it. So I understand that, there's a lot of society, especially when you're tying too. You have to show up, you only have like a minute to speak or something. Yeah, then you want to be very concise and to the point. But then there are times when being too concise, especially about a story like that, might not be the direction you really, really want to go into or you need to go to. So,
thank you.
I'll ask this as a two-parter. So first, do you see a connection between what you do and what you've been describing in play? That's the first question, yes or no. And the second part of that is how. So if you do, how do you see that?
Okay, yes, for the first part. I definitely see a connection between what I do and play. Second is in several ways. So one, I say that we're playing roles. And when we're playing these roles, we can play dress up, right? We can dress for the role and still be in alignment with us because it's all about the energy of the colors we wear. And we also, like when we go try on clothes, I nudge my clients out of their comfort zone. I never shove because that does not do any justice, but I will nudge. We don't grow without being a little uncomfortable. So I don't have many rules. I'm a rule breaker. The rules that I do have are it's free to try on clothes. So we're going to go play dress up. And there are some people who hate trying on clothes. It makes them very nervous. So we'll do it in a more controlled environment where they don't have those insecurities stepping in the way. But when I say we're going to try on something, anything I give you, you have to put it on your body. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to leave here with it, but you have to put it on because you never know how something might make you feel. You never know how something might spark something else, right? And some of my clients forgot how to play. They're very playful, and I use the elements instead of the seasons in my color palettes. So I type in the elements: earth, air, water, and fire. Each one has their own color palette. Each one has their own core characteristics and energy. It has nothing to do with your zodiac. So anyway, you have all four elements in you. The one that is your core element or your primary element, that's the one that we align the colors with. So with that being said, airs tend to be very playful beings. Most of my airs forgot how to play, and they're going through life. A lot of them are in corporate or leaving corporate. And when we get to the bottom of it and we learn that they're airs, they're like, oh my goodness, I used to wear these loud, bright colors and do this and do that, and I totally forgot that piece of me. When they get back in touch with that, their life expands again because we need play. And even people who are not airs, we need play. We need to laugh. We need that joy. I don't believe, I guess it depends on your belief system. I don't believe we were put here to be miserable. Whatever higher power you believe in, did they really put us here to be miserable? Because that doesn't make sense to me. So play, laugh, enjoy life, find the joy in everything you possibly can. And your clothes, oh my goodness, let me look at it like this, or let me say it like this. Most of us wear clothes, right? In our society, it's frowned upon to not wear clothing. If you're going to wear clothes anyway, shouldn't they enhance you and work for you instead of against you? Your wardrobe can actually be an asset. Have fun with it.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Yeah. Very, very true. Very true. So both you and I think we do. This is why when I very first came up with this concept, I was like, okay, I've got to get Amy. I need to get Amy. Amy needs to be a part of this. I want Amy. I say that so many times. And that's because I think both you and I do a similar thing where we're after the same outcome. We just use different modalities to get to it, but we're after the same outcome. And that's exactly why I'm so pleased that you're here and that you're saying some of these things that you're saying, these golden nuggets, these gems, because you say it a lot better than I do, or I should say a lot more concise.
That's funny. Good callback.
So let me ask you now, going back to humor, and let me explain again for you if you haven't heard the episode. So episode 2 of season 1 is called The Humor Tree, and I define humor a little more broadly than a lot of American society tends to view it. So I define it, and of course I'm using my opinions as well, but humor basically comes from play, or laughter comes from play. So does humor. Humor comes from play as well. So when I say play, I am talking about that natural sense of humor, that natural sense of joy that we were born with as babies. So everyone has it. Everyone. And so that is, I needed to make that concrete, let everybody know, because a friend of mine there, I had another talking with someone of a different culture, and when I said play and then when I said laughter, to her, those were two completely different concepts. Not necessarily, she didn't necessarily see the line between them. So I wanted to define that for the listeners, because I know that, especially for the listeners. All right, Amy. So if you could normalize one feeling for anyone who is listening, what would that feeling be?
Self-love. Self-love is not selfish. The things that we're taught are selfish are typically actually self-love. And I'm going to tell you, the more you love yourself, the better you love yourself, the better capacity you have to love others.
The more you love yourself, the better capacity you have to love others. On an airplane, put your oxygen mask on first.
Yep.
Then your child's.
Yep.
So parenting, we need, children, so as a parent, and as a parent, I know that you understand the concept and have probably experienced the concept of putting your children first all the time.
Yep.
However, there's a balance. And what you just said about self-love is the balance. How do you see that balance? How did you find that balance as a parent?
Found it by completely depleting myself. The airplane analogy, that's common. You can't pour from an empty cup. That's another one we hear all the time, but we don't really adhere to it. And I'm going to say, because this is an experience I understand, especially women in Western culture, we're taught that you have to take care of yourself. And at the same time, we're taught to be a good wife, a good partner, a good this, a good that. You pour into everyone around you. It's very contradicting. So then people look at you like, well, you're supposed to take care of yourself. I can give you an example of this that really made it click for me. When I was younger, my mother was very ill, and I had to take on a lot of household duties at a very young age to help the family, right? So I did laundry. And I remember seeing my mother, if she ever hears this, she's going to be like, really? Whatever. My mother's underclothes were really old and worn. And I remember asking her, like, why don't you go buy yourself new underwear? And she said, there's always something that you guys or your dad needs. And it's fine. Nobody sees them. It's fine. Nobody sees them. And I vowed I would never put myself in that situation. Fast forward 20 years, and I was wearing hand-me-down socks from my partner that have holes in them because nobody sees them. And I needed socks, so I would just take his old socks, because me spending $6 on a pack of socks didn't make sense when the kids needed this or he needed that or whatever the case may be. When we ended up splitting up and I got things a little different, I started taking care of myself. I had 2 teenage kids. And I bought myself a pack of socks, and it almost made me cry. $6. Not that much money, right? Or $9, whatever it is. But what it meant was I was showing myself care that I had denied myself prior to that. I had become my mother and did the thing I vowed not to do. And I didn't put it all together right away. I kind of became addicted to buying myself socks. And at some point I had more socks than any human could possibly wear in a year. And I was like, why do I have so many socks? And I realized that what it was me taking care of myself in a very small way. And now I look at that in a bigger way. We're taught to take care of, we're told to take care of ourselves, but we're not taught how. We're taught how to put ourselves last. It doesn't matter if it is 5 minutes a day to pour into yourself. Listen to something you want to listen to. Watch something you want to watch. Take 5 minutes to just close your eyes and sit in silence. Spend an extra 5 minutes in the shower. Whatever it is for yourself, if it's a skincare routine or something special you like to eat or going on a walk, no matter what it is, find a way to make that happen. Because when you stop pouring into you, at some point you're showing up for everyone around you running on empty. And you don't realize it until much later. If I would have cared for myself when my kids were small the way I care for myself now, I would have been a much better mother to them then. You're also, another way to look at it, if you can't quite grasp looking at things that way, look at it this way. The young people around you, whether you have children or not, it could be nieces, nephews, grandkids, the neighbors' kids, it doesn't matter. Kids don't listen to what we tell them. They watch what we do. So when we tell them, love yourself, you're amazing, you're beautiful, you're this, you're that, you're intelligent, you're kind, you teach them all the affirmations in the world. When you turn around and tear yourself apart, they're watching that. Do you know what lesson they're actually learning? Not the first one. They can recite those words back to you, but they're now learning to look at themselves and pick themselves apart. So when you're not taking care of you, because my kids saw those socks I was wearing, and they learned to give to other people before them. We're teaching the people around us how to treat themselves by the way we treat ourselves. And if you wouldn't treat your kids, your best friend, your parent, your lover, your clients, if you wouldn't treat them the way you're treating yourself, there's something wrong with that picture.
Mm-hmm.
I went on a tangent. I'm sorry. I'm passionate about that.
No. Thank you very much for sharing that. Thank you very much. What's one thing that you would like listeners to remember when the episode ends?
You are a masterpiece, and you deserve to be framed as such. In my world, your clothes are just the frame, but the message, you are the masterpiece. Remember that. You are. And by the way, a masterpiece doesn't become a masterpiece because it looks like the rest of the paintings around it. It's a masterpiece because it's unique and special, and so are you.
I love it. Unique and special, and so are you. All right. So I've put in our show notes, we have all the ways to contact you. We have your link to your book. But I'd like to give you a chance to verbalize, how can people continue the conversation with you?
The easiest way would be via email or follow me on social media, and you can message me there.
Okay. Super. All right. So finish this sentence, please. Healing doesn't have to be heavy because
it's light.
Very short and simple. Healing doesn't have to be heavy because it's light. Come on, y'all. Get real. I love it. Amy Janece, thank you so much for this lovely conversation. Thank you for being a part of our Lighten Up Nation. We want to spread all this information. We want to spread these feelings, these emotions globally, worldwide. And thank you for being a part of this movement. Really. Thank you to my audience who are listening, who continue to listen and come back each week. Twice a week now. So you're coming back twice a week to hear this. And these lovely conversations that we have with people. And I really hope that you're getting something out of this. I would love it if you could go to the podcast of your choice, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen, and leave a review. Tell us if we're doing something right. Or even go to our Facebook page, and then again, we can have a conversation about, how you would like to see this podcast improved, or what you like about it, what you dislike about it, what you want to see more of, less of. However, we are here for you. So please come back next week, and remember, every smile can open a door, every laugh can open a heart, and every step can be your next victory. Until next week, thanks so much. Stressed out, stuck, or leading on autopilot? It's not a motivational problem, it's a connection problem. My weekly virtual improv classes boost engagement, collaboration, and retention all while having fun. Register now for a complimentary month.